When Admiral Jellicoe and the British fleet returned from the Battle of Jutland, they didn't receive a hero's welcome.
Some ships were booed by dockyard mateys. There was a feeling that all had not gone well. This was certainly not a new Trafalgar. And there was a great feeling of disappointment, of shock even.
The public demanded explanations. Those in charge came under extreme pressure to justify themselves. Beatty, despite the losses of his battlecruisers, sought to portray himself as the hero of Jutland, who had delivered the German fleet to Jellicoe only for him to fail to destroy it. Each man's supporters argued bitterly. Then came a chance for Beatty to protect his reputation. In December 1917, Jellicoe was dismissed. 3 years later, he was appointed governor of New Zealand. Beatty then replaced him as First Sea Lord in charge of all naval matters. With Jellicoe over 10,000 miles away, Beatty had free rein to rewrite history. Documents at the National Archives show how he did it.
So what we've got here is one of the earliest maps showing the track of the battlecruiser fleet. This was completed literally within a few hours of the ships returning to Rosyth.
In an official dispatch, Beatty boasted that at all times he was in contact with the enemy. Yet the original chart showed his ship had veered in a circle. The Vice Admiral had lost sight of the Germans. It gave Beatty a problem. John Harper, the Royal Navy's Chief Navigation Officer, was compiling his factual account. Beatty needed the record to match his boast. He pressured his subordinate to alter the chart.
Harper says, "I'm not going to make these changes unless I receive a written order from you." This Beatty refuses to do, because if he does, his insistence on these changes is then placed in the public domain.
Beatty then went as far as to produce an alternative chart with his circling maneuver removed. He signed and dated it 1916, only with a style of signature he didn't start using until 1920, when he was made an Earl, just his surname, with a bigger B.
He's then realised what he's done and has affected this rather unusual David in front of it. Now, as far as Harper is concerned, this shows completely that, this track has been fabricated.
Certainly things got very fraught. Signatures were forged. Documents were fiddled with. This was quite extraordinary.
Attempts to rewrite history weren't solely down to the ego of senior officers. The destruction of the battlecruisers and loss of lives under Beatty's command raised awkward questions.
The real problem was the magazine practices, and no one wanted to go there because it was so incredibly embarrassing. Would the British have lost any battlecruisers at Jutland if they'd handled them properly? I don't think so. Think about how devastating that is. I think you're watching a smoke train.
The question remains, are the Harper charts accurate? If they are, they would help restore John Jellicoe's reputation despite